So many ways that that UBA has impacted my business. It's impacted it from the perspective of just how I think about the business, what I see as possible in the business. It's helped me personally develop. It's helped people in my organization grow.
One day, very much like everybody else in the early days, I got a letter in the mail from David Locascio where he sort of painted the picture for United Benefit Advisors.
David called me and started talking, and almost after 15 minutes I realized this is where I need to be. This is something that can make a difference in my life.
Tons of the folks that I talked to literally were completing my sentences for me. In other words, I can't tell you how many people went, "We've wanted to do this forever. You know, this is great, let's go." I mean, it was kind of self-evident.
And then David and I worked on this thing for, golly gee, 8 months to get the value proposition correct. I think we incorporated in January of 2002.
And so there were 33 of us that started in the basement of the O'Hare Hilton.
O'Hare Hilton, that's right. Yep, we had
down in the dungeon.
Down in the dungeon. We had tables. We were all sitting around at tables and with computers in front of us, and we put paper up on the wall and put projects up there. It was really a unique time.
Well, I remember going to that first session, and it was really very exciting because it was a new concept. There were some very dynamic people who had a much broader vision than even we had anticipated, and trying to bring together a bunch of individual entrepreneurs with their own practices, their own personal beliefs and different structures. It was a challenge, but quite a dynamic opportunity.
I was really intrigued with the collaborative vision that was laid out, and the fact that we would have not only people that we could contact with various expertise, but have local knowledge to serve our clients in virtually every place in North America.
I think all of the charter members remember those really early days when we would meet in Chicago and never leave the hotel airport. I guess it was that camaraderie and the fact that people said that if you like anything I have, it's okay to steal it. We're here to share with each other.
It was very, very rewarding to be able to sit in a room with other entrepreneurs. At the time, my firm was only 5 years old, and quite frankly, there weren't a lot of people for me to be able to speak to about issues, problems, hurdles, challenges. And it was just amazing that we sat in a hotel room and we all spoke the same language, and it was amazing.
Take a look at some of the folks who are there. And I could tell stories about half of the UBA members that are direct stories on incredible things they have done. But when you have a group that's comprised of Ray Barrett, Chris Reed, Scott Rappaport, Vicki Ferenc, Roger Schultz, Lamar Wright, and on and on and on. That's what I didn't count on.
Those are the people that became the charter members. And those people took a leap of faith. They joined David and me. And the way I describe it is we all decided to jump off the cliff together and hope that we could grow wings. And we did.
I think the one thing that really convinced me was the quality of the other folks in the room, the other charter members. Birds of a feather flock together. and I wanted to be in that flock.
We agreed from the very, very beginning that getting the culture right was the key thing.
It's the seed of that entrepreneurialism that continues to survive in the organization and drive it.
It's the strength of the organization, is the independence. And you talked about 142 different ways of doing something. You start at the same point and you end at the same point. It's the journey getting there. We steal pieces of each other's journeys, which makes us all better.
I still think the most important piece of our equation is the culture we've built and the trust we have between each other. That hasn't changed.
The core of UBA then and now is trust. I just knew that there would probably be at least some people who had the same basic orientation I did, would not view other people as competitive threats, but would view them as colleagues and were more than willing to share. That is the linchpin of UBA.
We collaborate with people. It helps us be stronger for our clients. And we're really not competing against each other. We're competing against national firms.
It gives me one foot in being a big organization and one foot of still being the independent entrepreneur.
I think you having access to the Principals Forum and being able to share ideas, best practices, those kinds of things are really important.
The biggest change has really been the transition, the evolution of the organization from being one driven by the founders and then becoming fulfilling its vision of becoming a member-owned organization.
The services that we provide to our clients are head and shoulders above anything that any competition is remotely capable of providing, and that is solely the result of our association with United Benefit Advisors and all the wonderful tools and services that are afforded to us.
We're going to be having a new CEO. This is now a mature organization. What that organization chooses to do going forward is completely up to them, and they should absolutely re-examine whether a few of the basic rules we had in place when we began are still effective.
As the landscape changes because of healthcare reform, as the landscape changes because of what clients are demanding and looking for, I think that we'll be able to evolve with that a lot quicker and be much more responsive.
You know, the next 3 years, if healthcare legislation stays on track, it'll change us more than the last 50 years have done. I think that'll be a challenge that we'll make it through to the other side, no matter where healthcare evolves, just because all that brain power in the room.
I think that there's a lot of comfort in knowing that there are 144 firms represented in this organization with, in many cases, 144 different ideas about how the future should unfold. But those are all individuals that I respect, and we certainly hope that collectively UBA will be able to adapt and support all of us. We're bound by a common purpose, and so we want to make sure that we don't lose the focus, the energy moving forward. And if we're able to brand ourselves in a way that is very recognizable by companies, employers throughout the U.S., I think the sky's the limit.
I have split 1 million beers with folks in the UBA. They are a terrific group of ladies and gentlemen, and we always love to visit with them, and I'll split a beer with them every time.